What's up YouTube, Dan here and welcome to my episode 2 of my Bundesliga predictions. So last episode I did the Barclays Premier League predictions and you guys seem to really enjoy it, so I'm back with the next episode. Next episode will be the Serie A, so start leaving your ideas for that, but I have a rough idea of what I'm going to do for that. So I do actually watch the Bundesliga a lot. I am a really big fan of it. I do like to watch Borussia Dortmund, I do like to watch Hamburg, Bayern Munich, and this season has been a really good season. A lot of good players coming through the ranks and having really good seasons, a lot of youngsters, particularly from Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund. And by the way, Bayern Munich won the championship, or the Bundesliga championship, this weekend, so congratulations to them, and they've had a really good season. And in this team there's a lot of Bayern Munich players. So our first player in this team is going to be our goalkeeper, and it's René Adler. So if you're wondering how I got their rating, basically what I did was, René Adler is basically an 84, and I've actually upgraded him to a 90, and that's what I've done, so +6, and that's what happened in FIFA 12 for the team this seasons. So he plays for Hamburg and he's really stood out for me, and I haven't really changed their actual stats like the diving reflexes as you can see, but you can talk amongst yourselves and tell me what you think of their actual stats in the team this season card. So I've just focused on their actual rating. In my opinion, I think Adler has outshone Neuer, and Neuer still has a good season and is actually on the subs bench, but Adler's really kept out a lot of shots, and Hamburg aren't as good as Bayern Munich, and he's done really well in goal and has got a lot of clean sheets. So I think he's either second or first top, I can't quite remember, but if you know, tell me in the comments. So let's move on to our centre-backs. So without a shadow of a doubt, the first centre-back has to be Mats Hummels from Borussia Dortmund. So it's gone up from an 85, I think it was, to a 91, so that's +6. And by the way, there's 3 centre-backs, and then there's 4 midfielders, and then there is a centre-forward, then there's 2 strikers, but that's my formation. So he's had an immense season, he's been really solid at the back, and not much has gone past him. Him and Subotic and even Felipe Santana have been really good together. So let's move on to our second centre-back. Our second centre-back has to be Holger Badstuber from Bayern Munich, and he's 89 rated, and there's not much more to say. He will get into the German team for the next World Cup. I think, in my opinion, he's quite young still, 1989, that's the year he's born. So he's still early 23, really done well this season. And I didn't see him much last season, but this season he's really caught my eye, and he's done a lot for the team, and him and Dante at the back especially have been really good together, and that's why Bayern Munich have been so successful. So let's move on to our third and final centre-back. Our last centre-back has to be Dante, as I've just said. So he plays for Bayern Munich, and obviously he's from Brazil, and he's featured in the national team for Brazil, and I've upgraded him from an 81 to an 87. He's had a really good season, and in the next game I think he'll be like an 85 maybe, because he's really shone, he's really strong, and that is a really good combination with Badstuber, who's more quick, more agile, but still really good in the air. So let's now move on to our right midfielder. So our right midfielder has to be Marco Reus. I know that's not his natural position, but that's the only place I could put him, because I've got to think of other players who you'll see. So I haven't really changed his stats, but I'm guessing he'll have around the 95 pace mark. And he's really creative, and he scores a lot of goals as well. I remember his hat-trick against, I can't remember what team it was, but a really good finisher as well, and a really good crosser. He's just so good around, and he's just joined Borussia Dortmund this season from Borussia Mönchengladbach, I think it was, and he's done really well linking up with Götze and Lewandowski and players like that. So let's now move on into our centre midfielders. So our first centre midfielder has to be Diego. He's been the best player without a shadow of a doubt for Wolfsburg. He's from Brazil, and he has really good stats, as you can see, and they're obviously going to improve. So he's quite old, and 1985, 89 rated as well. So he's more of a creative, and I couldn't fit him into my cam role, but he's in the centre mid, he can still play there. I've seen him a couple of times in that position, and he's a really creative player. And if you don't know, he's more of a creative, but he does score a couple of goals for Wolfsburg, and he's one of the main reasons why Wolfsburg have had quite a good season this year. So let's now move on to his partner in centre midfielder. So our second centre midfielder has to be Toni Kroos, and he's so good at the moment, doing really well for Bayern Munich, playing in that cam role with Müller on the right and Ribery on the left, and he's keeping Robben out of the team. He's so creative, he scores a lot of goals as well, and he just sets up a lot of goals as well, and that's why Bayern Munich have been so good this season. And you're going to see this team is revolved around Bayern Munich, or revolved around them. He's German, and he'll easily get into the national team at the World Cup. So let's now move on to our left midfielder. So moving on into our highest rated player in this team, it's 96 rated Ribery. He's a left midfielder, so he's better in that position than Reus, in my opinion. But he's from Bayern Munich, he's French, and I'm probably going to guess that his pace will be around the 96, 97, and he'll be costing a bomb once he's out, and he'll definitely be in the team this season with the goals and the assists and the free kicks he's scored this season. So let's now move on to the centre forward. So our centre forward is Thomas Müller. He doesn't do too much, but when he does do something, it's really effective, and he creates a lot of chances, and he also scores a lot of goals. So Thomas Müller, 90 rated as well, 84 to a 90, and his pace will be around the 90 mark, and he's going to cost again quite a lot, as most of the team will. So moving on into our strikers. So you might have heard of Lewandowski from Borussia Dortmund. He's going to be the first striker, 89 rated, Polish, and plays for Borussia Dortmund. And there's high interest in him from Bayern Munich and teams like that. There's also Manchester United. And on the next game, he'll be really good. He scored a lot of goals, and I think he's the second top scorer, this year. Maybe even top, but I need to check about that. So he wins the first striker, but let's move on to the second striker. So our second striker has got to be Kiesling, and it's either him or Lewandowski who are top scorer. He's 85 rated, and he's gone up from a 79, I think it was, so +6. He scores a lot of goals. He's quite tall, so he's really good in the air. As you can see, 191 centimeters, so really tall. And he does score a lot of goals. He's quite agile as well. So let's now move on to the substitutes. So our first substitute is Manuel Neuer. There was no doubt he was at least going to be on the substitutes. I just saw that Adler had really caught my eye this season and really kept out a lot for them. So Neuer is originally an 87, so he's upgraded to a 93. So he is the goalkeeper on the substitutes bench. So the first centre-back on the subs bench has got to be Subotic, 81 rated, and he's gone up to an 87. He's quite pacey, he's good in the air as well, 193 centimetres. And he actually does get forward a lot, and Hummels does normally stay back. You might have seen in the Malaga game. He's from Serbia, plays for Borussia Dortmund as well. And he's one of the main reasons why Borussia Dortmund is second in the league this year. And they're so solid at the back. So let's move on to our next player. So there's no way I could leave out Mario Götze. He's really linked up with Royce, Blaszczykowski and Lewandowski. He scored a lot of goals. He's set up a lot of goals, which is his main job. 90 rated as well. So think how much he'll cost, and obviously his pace will be around the 85 mark. He's German and from Borussia Dortmund, and he's only 20 years old at the moment, so think how much potential he has. So let's now move on to the next player. So next player is Schürrle, and he's quite similar to Götze in many ways. He's quite attackive, and he does like to create a lot of chances for Kiesling, and him and Kiesling have been so good together this season. And his pace will be around the 90 mark and 85 rated, and not much more to say about him. He's good. He's a good goal scorer. He does score a lot of goals for Bayer Leverkusen, and that's why they are third in the table at the moment. The next player is Heung-min Son, and he's really caught my eye this season. He scored a fantastic goal. I think it was against Wolfsburg. He's from Hamburger. Also, we got another player who was Adler, 79 rated. He was originally a silver, but I've upgraded him to a gold. Don't know if he will remain a silver, but I think he will be a gold. So moving on to our 17th player. So our next player is a central attacking midfielder. It's got to be Alexander Meyer. He scored a lot of goals, or Mailer, I don't know how to say his name, but he scored a lot of goals for Frankfurt this season. They've had quite a decent season. Without him, they wouldn't have a really good season, but they were promoted a couple of seasons ago. He doesn't have the best of pace, and I don't know why, but he's quite tall in the air as well. He's really good in the air, and he does score a lot of headers, and he's really good in finishing, and I really mean he's really good in the box, around the box. He's like a bit of a Van Persie. So let's now move on to the last player. So our final player is Mario Mandzukic from Bayern Munich, 88 rated. He's had a really good season this year. So that wraps up my predictions for the team this season for the Bundesliga. Tell me your views in the comments, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode of this mini-series.